Senate is about Nigeria and Nigerians. Repeals the Federal Inland Revenue Service Establishment Act number 13 of 2007.
President Tinubu submits tax reform bills to Nass, seeks to rename FYRS.
The Ogbomoso-Oyo Road is yet to be completed as the contractor handling the portion has left the site.
And Senate summons Works Minister over road project. Welcome to the program Inside the Senate. I am Hadiza Bayero Aliyu Ranko. This week on the front burner of the Senate's activities was the consideration of a letter from President Bola Tinubu forwarding 4 tax-related bills for consideration, one of which seeks the renaming of the Federal Inland Revenue Service FYRS to Nigeria Revenue Service NRS. There were several bills lined up for consideration, notable among which are those bills seeking the establishment of development commissions in the various geopolitical zones. Some were brought up for amendments, while a South-South Development Commission was proposed. Details of these and other issues considered in the Senate last week make up our package. Stay tuned for the full package after the break.
Promote the unity, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria.
The Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2023.
And this act should be supported by all.
There are issues that we must use this opportunity to critically address.
We accord this motion the urgency and the necessity it requires.
I rise the second motion.
The ayes have it.
Welcome back. The Senate on Thursday, 3rd October 2024, received 4 different executive bills seeking far-reaching tax reforms. The bills were contained in a letter from President Bola Tinubu and was read on the floor of the Senate by its President, Godswill Akpabio. One of the bills seeks the renaming of Federal Inland Revenue Service FYRS to Nigeria Revenue Service NRS.
The Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill repeals the Federal Inland Revenue Service Establishment Act number 13 of 2007 and establishes the Nigeria Revenue Service to assess, collect, and account for revenue accruable to the government of the Federation. The Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill establishes the Joint Revenue Board, the Tax Appeal Tribunal, and the Office of the Tax Ombudsman for the harmonization and coordination and settlement of disputes arising from revenue administration in Nigeria.
Other reforms bill in the letter are the Nigerian Tax Bill, which seeks to provide a consolidated fiscal framework for taxation in Nigeria, the Nigeria Tax Administration Bill, which seeks to provide a clear and concise legal framework for the fair, consistent, and efficient administration of all the tax laws to facilitate ease of tax compliance, reduce tax disputes, and optimize revenue. The Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill, which aims at establishing the Joint Revenue Board, the Tax Appeal Tribunal, and the Office of the Tax Ombudsman for the harmonization, coordination, and settlement of disputes arising from revenue administration in Nigeria. According to the President, the proposed tax bills present substantial benefits for economic growth by enhancing taxpayers' compliance, strengthening fiscal institutions, and fostering a more effective and transparent fiscal regime. Let's take a break here. Next on the program is our notebook segment. Stay tuned for our subject of the week.
A public hearing is an interactive session organized by legislative committees on any subject matter for the purpose of sharing ideas, x-raying issues, and resolving conflicts around the subject matter. The matter could be a proposed bill that has killed second reading or a motion referred to committees for more legislative actions. Interested members of the public, along with the stakeholders, may participate in the public hearings, at the end of which reports are compiled by the committees and submitted to the Senate for necessary action.
Thanks for staying tuned. The Senate last week considered several bills at first, second, and third reading. The proposal, as well as amendment of Development Commission bills, were amongst those considered. There was also a motion on a failed road which saw the Senate requesting the presence of the Minister of Works. Details of these and more in our next report, compiled and presented from our studio.
Aware that transportation ensures stable prices.
In a motion on the matters of urgent public importance, Senator Abdul Fattah Buhari raised concerns over the hardships faced by commuters due to the poor state of the Ogbomosho-Oyo route, which he noted serves as a crucial link between the southern and northern regions of the country.
The people of Ogbomosho land have been plunged into the unprecedented crisis occasioned by a tragic petrol tanker accident that occurred on the road, which resulted in traffic gridlock, rendered some inhabitants in the area homeless, paralyzed economic activities, as well as claimed some innocent lives.
All senators who contributed to the debate called on the federal government to take urgent action on the road, especially due to its economic value.
It is true, I have some knowledge of that road because I traverse it quite often. And I think I was there the last 2 years to visit my former secondary school, Federal Government College, Ilorin. And I know that that road has been there for several years. And when you get to Ogbom, you have to go onto the old road. So, and I think it's one of the roads that was started many years ago, but not completed.
When this contract was given, there was a lot of excitement and a lot of hope on this particular road. But the road now, the issue has become people were cursing those who even gave the road in the first place. Because 2007, and we are in 2024, and this is not more than just 5 kilometer roads. It has actually brought the town to its knees. When you are passing through that road at any particular time, especially during the rain season, you spend clearly not less than 3 hours to pass through Ogbomosho, which ordinarily you would have passed in 10 minutes.
For a very long time, not just of recent. We know the importance of the artery that it has been to the south-north connection. So I don't have any hesitation in lending my own very serious and conscientious weight behind this motion.
At the end, and following a suggestion by the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, the following resolutions were adopted. Urge the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, direct the relevant authorities to complete the rehabilitation of the road, as well as mandate the Committee on Works to invite the Minister of Works with a view to unraveling the circumstances that led to the abandonment of the road.
HB 326.
On bills, the Senate on Wednesday, 2nd October 2024, took the second reading of a bill seeking the establishment of the Federal University of Agriculture and Tropical Studies, Iragwiji, Osun State, sponsored by the leader of the Senate, Senator Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele. In his lead debate on the bill, the Senate leader said the proposed institution is a bold step towards addressing the educational needs of the populace, as well as serve as training ground for the development of agriculturists in the country.
This bill is a bold step towards not only addressing the educational needs of the populace, but it will also serve as training ground for the development of agriculturists in the country. Agriculture, with its allied sectors, is unquestionably the largest livelihood provider, more also in the rural areas, and can contribute significantly to the GDP. Demand for agricultural products is rising rapidly with increase in population and per capita income and growing demand from industrial sector.
Over the years in this country is that we should diversify economy. We can no longer continue to be a mono-product economy, depending on oil alone. And the stance is that we should enhance our agricultural sector, to make it vibrant, to make it up and running, so that we'll be able to feed ourselves and also produce the necessary raw materials for our industries. This is what is happening all over the world.
Clearly, I align myself with what has been said by Senator Barrow, and considering the importance of this university to our nation at this time, not only will it enable the farmers, it also enable better job and career opportunities for our young ones.
The Senate accordingly, after the lead debate, passed the bill for second reading and mandated its Committee on Tertiary Education and TED Fund to conduct public hearing and report back in 3 weeks.
Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues,
a second bill seeking for operation and licensing of private investigators in Nigeria was not so lucky as it failed to pass second reading. It was sponsored by Senator Osita Ngwu.
Permit me to lead the debate on the Private Investigators Bill, which seeks to provide a framework for the licensing and practice of private investigators in the country. It also provides for a system of regulation, control, and conduct of the practice so as to maintain professional standards. The bill was first read for the first time on the 23rd of May, 2024.
The objectives of the bill include fraud prevention, detection, assessment and resolution, corporate fraud and risk management services, insurance fraud and claims investigation, aviation accident and loss investigation, marine loss investigation, occupational health and safety incident investigation, witness location and bail bond defaulters. There were mixed reactions to the bill, as some senators supported the idea behind the bill, while others were in opposition.
Sir, this bill seeks to regulate the activities of private investigators. I will know that these investigators are around and they have been doing businesses, whether we recognize them or not. But as a country that is moving in the right direction, it is very necessary and germane that activities be regulated.
I think that for this Senate to enact a law that will give a Nigerian to apply for a license and to be so licensed such that he can carry out investigation on anyone. I saw here to prevent fraud prevention. That is what EFCC and the police are about. Corporate fraud, any manner of fraud, whether corporate individual. I think that it would be risky to license anyone to have the right to approach any one of us and ask certain questions because the law has empowered him so to do. It will just be a license for extortion, a license for blackmail, and unnecessary rivalry, and it will not be controllable.
The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, advised that the bill be stepped down by the sponsor to allow for further legislative input.
The Civil Senator Osita Ngwu has applied that he be allowed to step down this bill for further consultation. Those in support of his position say aye. Those against say nay. Only one voice. The ayes have it.
Still on bills, the Senate on Thursday, 3rd October 2024, resolved to amend the Northwest and Southeast Development Commission Act over positions of Managing Director and Chairman. This is even as it passed for second reading the South-South Development Commission Bill. In a separate lead debate on the amendment bills, the leader of the Senate, Senator Michael Okpeyemi Bamidele, said the amendment bill seeks to reconcile the lacuna that exists in the provisions relating to the appointment of the chairman and the managing director of the commission by ensuring that the two are not appointed from the same states of the zone, as well as subject their appointments to the confirmation of the Senate in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
With the benefit of hindsight, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, the Northwest Development Commission Bill was passed by the National Assembly earlier this year
and was transmitted and assented to by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. However, in the course of implementation of the legislation, it was observed that for effective representation and in line with the principles of federal character, it is imperative that membership of the Commission be extended to the other geopolitical zones of the country.
He gave similar reasons in his lead debate for amendment of the Southeast Development Commission Act.
A bill for an act to amend the Northwest.
In his remarks after passing the amendment bills for second reading, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, said the proposed amendments to the Act were very necessary for the smooth running of the commissions across the zones.
The power of screening and confirmation of major appointees of the federal government, those powers are vested in the Senate. Any law that is enacted by the National Assembly to the contrary is automatically null and void to the extent of that provision, because that provision is constitutional. The constitutional provision takes priority and prevails. So if there is any, by mistake or otherwise, National Assembly should enact any act of parliament and say that it is not the Senate that does screening and confirmation. That automatically is void. That provision is void because the Constitution has already vested the power in the Nigerian Senate, and I think we should be guided.
Same day, a bill seeking for establishment of the South-South Development Commission was sponsored by Senator Asukwo Ekpeyon.
This proposed commission will be charged with the responsibility to receive and manage funds that will be channeled towards addressing the critical issues facing the South-South, a body specifically designed to cater to the peculiar needs, challenges, and aspirations of the states within the South-South geopolitical zone, comprising Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Cross River, Delta, Edo, and River States. Some of the needs include resolving infrastructural deficits that have plagued our region for decades, hindering development and economic growth, combating militancy and communal crises which have not only destabilized local economies, but also tarnished the image of our region nationally and internationally, addressing ecological and environmental degradation caused by decades of oil exploration, leaving our lands desolate, our waters polluted, and our people suffering from adverse health effects.
Senator Siriake Dixon, in his contribution to the bill, said the Niger Delta Development Commission is being mistaken to be in the mode of zonal development commissions. He enlightened the House more on the bill and the differences.
In the North Central, states that are contributing resources, the water bodies that are converted to energy, are a major source of resource. And this country thought it appropriate to establish a body. But that body was resource-based. It doesn't include states that don't have those water bodies and all those entities. So now the country has moved further, where at this point now, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, we are now creating not resource-based centers of development and entities, but development-based entities according to geopolitical zones. And that is why the case is now being made for the consideration of this August Assembly. And I will now, on behalf of all the senators, appeal to all members that we should give this a favorable consideration.
After his explanation, senators gave their support for the bill.
Part of South-South, where this oil is being drained, these people have no water to drink. They have nowhere to cultivate food to eat. So they should be number one in having the developmental commission, because this commission is developmentally based, not oil based.
And before, I thought having NDDC is enough, but now I understand the difference. However, he convinced me more by saying any state can join the NDDC at a future date.
Immediately,
if oil is discovered in large quantity.
Exactly.
At the end, the bill was referred to the Senate Committee on Special Duties to report back within 1 week. Meanwhile, the Senate received and considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund on the David Umahi University of Health Sciences Establishment Bill 2024. It was presented by the chairman of the committee, Senator Mohammed Nandutse Muntari. The report was considered clause by clause by the Committee of the Whole, where clauses 1 to 5 were approved as recommended. Further consideration of the report was, however, deferred and referred to the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TED Fund to report within 2 weeks. Other bills read for the first time last week include Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2024, sponsored by Senator Khalid Ibrahim Mustafa, Federal Medical Centers Act Amendment Bill 2024, sponsored by Senator Kenneth Emeka, Passport, Miscellaneous Provisions Act Amendment Bill 2024, sponsored by Senator Bello Sani Abubakar, National Vehicle Production Regulatory Agency Establishment Bill 2024, sponsored by Senator Ani Anthony Okorie, National Obstetrics Fistula Centers Establishment Bill 2024, sponsored by Senator Kaila Samaila Dahua.
That was a report of plenary proceedings from last week as compiled and presented from our studio. Stand by for our Senator of the Week in our profile segment coming up next.
Senator Muntari Mohammed Nandutse is the current senator representing Katsina South Senatorial District in the 10th Senate. He was born in 1966 in Dendume local government area of Katsina State, Nigeria. Senator Nandutse had his secondary education at Government Secondary School Malumfashi, Katsina State. He graduated in 1984 with the General Certificate of Education GCE. He further studied history at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Kaduna State, from where he graduated in 1994 with a Bachelor of Arts degree. In 2005, he bagged a master's degree in International Studies and Diplomacy from the same Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. As a politician, Senator Muntari Mohammed Nandutse served for 9 years as a local government chairman. He later on served as Special Assistant to the President of Nigeria from 2000 to 2001. From 2013 to 2015, he served as the President of Globe Nigeria, an investment enterprise. In 2015, Senator Muntari Mohammed Nandutse was elected into the Federal House of Representatives under the platform of the All Progressives Congress APC to represent Funtua Dendime constituency. He served in that capacity until 2023. Similarly, in 2023, he contested again, this time for the position of senator to represent Katsina South Senatorial District under the platform of the All Progressives Congress APC and won. Currently, Senator Muntari Mohammed Nandutse represents Katsina South Senatorial District and chairs the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Tertiary Education Trust Fund TED Fund in the 10th Senate. His legislative interests include education, human rights and empowerment, community development, health and security.
This brings us to the end of the program this week. Join us next week for another fresh edition of the program. I am your anchor, Hadiza Bayero Aliyu.